This has not featured on the bog standard best books of the year lists. I need to talk to you about this book. This is a sports romantasy.
Yes.
There is an author that's having the best year of his life right now.
Well, I didn't actually know about this whole genre until you just threw it in casually before Ariella pressed on air. And I'm like kind of reeling because I want to get my hands on this.
This left me sobbing on the couch, and my 11-year-old came downstairs and was like, "Mummy, who's died?"
Hello and welcome back to the Bibliophiles. I'm Sophie.
And I'm Chaya.
And we're here today to talk about a topic that we're really excited about, actually. But before we go into it, I'd just like to take a moment to say thank you on behalf of both of us. Thank you for taking the time to listen to us today. And if you like what we do here at the Bibliophiles, please do like and subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. Now, on with the episode.
This episode is going to fix all your problems. I'm
I
just
love
going to say
that.
it.
Big statement.
Big statement. Bold
Every
statement.
problem you have will be cured
You
by
will-
our podcast today.
It will. You walk into a bookshop or you go online. If you're on Bookstagram or BookTok or any proliferation of social media book place, you are being bombarded and barraged with hundreds, if not thousands, of different books all the time.
Very valid point.
So saturated. How do you choose? I want to tell you how you choose, because we have done the work for you. This is the best books of the year so far. And it's not just from us. I have spent hours going through every single list on Goodreads, the New York Times, NPR. Then we've thought about what our own favourite books are. And then we have an extra special insider treat.
We should say that this episode was inspired by a friend of the podcast, Grant. Hello, Grant. We were chatting over a coffee and Grant mentioned, hang on, why aren't we talking about best books of the year so far? And actually, why haven't we? Now is the time. It's summer. It's time to touch base on where we've got to so far. And we might even talk about a couple of the books that we're really, really looking forward to reading before the end of the year.
Absolutely. So we have spoken to people in publishing who have sent us in their best books of the year. We've got a whole segment from the insider track at Spotify, from audiobooks,
That's
the
super
directors across the world. Thank you, Roshni, for sending them in this morning. We are indebted to you. And I just think that if you're lucky, like people like us, we get sent a lot of books, right? We get sent hundreds of emails a week from publicists shouting out about the books that they're representing and that they're the next book that's going to break the internet. And it's so hard to read between the lines. And actually, when you're getting all the books and you're working in the industry, those are the people that know.
They do know
When something is going to really be amazing.
But I want to add that when I certainly have, and I think you have too, in terms of my own selections, some of these books are books that are new and have come out this year. But some of the best books that I've read this year, they're old books. And we're big on that here.
Yes.
We don't just want to read new stuff. It's really important to give some attention back to those books that just maybe weren't around when social media got bigger and bigger and took over everything and maybe didn't get that hype. And really, I think one of the best books I've read this year so far, I think it's from the 60s.
Amazing. And we are so delighted because Bibliophiles Insiders, our amazing community, have sent in a whole range of their best books of the year. And some of them are incredible titles that I'd forgotten about.
Yeah, I mean, Insiders, you have elite taste. I take my proverbial hat off to you.
So let us start with the collation that we have done on the best books of the year. These are obviously predicated towards new books that the media and lots of publishing houses are putting out. I think that it would be remiss of us not to start with Guess the Book. So
Obviously, it's yesteryear.
It's
it has to be.
yesteryear.
It must be. Listen, we had quite strong opinions on this book. And I actually don't think either of us are going to say that this is a favourite book of ours.
No,
However, when you talk about best, this is surely the most talked about book this year so far, and I would say with good reason.
I agree. It's a conversation starter. It is most certainly doing exceptionally well still on the
It's
list.
hugely thought-provoking. There's going to be, no doubt, a massive, massive movie already basically written and produced by Anne Hathaway, who will be playing the main protagonist. It's up there. It's on pretty much every single list.
Single list. So other books, and if you're interested in yesteryear, we did an entire deep dive episode on it.
Link in the show notes. I think I love saying link in the show notes.
Absolutely.
We're going to do it.
So Tiari Jones Kin, Strangers by Belle Burden.
I really liked Belle Burden's book, but again, would it be one of my favourite best reads of the year? It's not actually one that I brought with today.
No, it wasn't mine, and I found it quite difficult actually because it just smacked of kind of
You found it
elitism and a bit
grating.
untouched and ungrating, but out of touch, apologies. Lost Lambs, Madeline Cash.
I loved Lost Lambs. I think I preferred it to you.
Yes.
I really enjoyed it because I'm not one that, I think I've said this before and it makes me sound like such a misery, but humour is not something I tend to go for. And I loved the dark humour in this book. I think she really nailed that, and I really enjoyed this book. I also love dysfunctional families, and this family is seriously dysfunctional.
So they get entangled in a criminal conspiracy when their youngest daughter investigates a suspicious local billionaire. And
and the parents have just begun like a very open marriage, and it's just all like, it's kind of the stuff that you're thinking, really? Like, but it's so good and funny.
Vigil by George Saunders is on many lists. The Calamity Club by Catherine Stockett. I will say that The Palm House by Gwendolyn Riley, which has just been longlisted for the Booker.
I haven't read that.
I liked it a lot. It's very, very, very well written. One of our insiders, Tabitha, said the funniest thing about The Love of Your Life, which was, does everyone have a crush on PRK? Which brings us to London Falling.
We all do. Also, he has an incredibly... something about his voice. I listened to him on a podcast, and he was being interviewed, and actually his story is really a great story, and how his resilience in becoming a writer for the New York Times.
So you haven't hacked into his phone and you're listening to his
moving on.
private conversations.
But London Falling, fantastic book, hugely talked about, written in very much Patrick Radden Keefe's trademark style, the most compelling, gripping non-fiction that I think anybody would enjoy. Really, anybody would enjoy. I will say, I'm going to say it, Empire of Pain is still my favourite.
Interesting.
It really is. I think because I found the subject matter so utterly mind-boggling that this actually could go on. But look, London Falling, I'm a Londoner, and to hear about what goes on in the darker parts of one's home city is very fascinating. But I would still say Empire of Pain for me is it's the one.
We will be telling you what London Falling is about momentarily. Sophie, is it one of your favourite books of the year so far?
No.
Ouch.
It's not. I really loved it.
Tough critic here.
I really loved it. I did really love it. But actually, and there was another non-fiction book that I've brought here today, and that actually, for me, has been the one that I've been left thinking about, even though I read it quite some time ago, earlier in the year.
So interesting. So London Falling is the story of Zach Bretler, who was a public school boy from around the corner to us, literally. And he created and cultivated this whole persona of being the son of an oligarch, and he got involved into things that unfortunately led to his life ending.
And his family had no idea about this sort of story that he'd built around himself until he tragically died after he fell from a balcony in one of London's very, very I think a hugely expensive residence on the bank of the Thames, near to Pimlico, I think.
Now, there is an author that's having the best year of his life right now, and I want you to read him.
Well, I didn't actually know about this whole genre until you just threw it in casually before Ariella pressed on air. And I'm like, kind of reeling because I want to get my hands on this.
So now I have to say that his new book, A Parade of Horribles, so the author in question is Matt Dinnerman. This has not featured on the bog standard best books of the year lists, but I am telling you, as someone that is having 100 conversations with publishers every single month and looking at the lists and looking at the hype factor, that Dungeon Crawler Carl and the series that Matt Dinnerman has created is one of the books of the year.
Why then do you think it's not on these lists? Because it's not mainstream enough?
Well, it's a fascinating question, Sophie. These books, I was shocked by how narrow the scope of these books are. They are literary fiction, they're highbrow, they're mostly novels. And I think there's a lot of fantasy readers and there's a lot of sci-fi readers. Like Project Hail Mary is now doing incredibly well again. And that's because there's been a film. And Dungeon Crawler Carl is going to be adapted. Watch this space. When it's adapted, suddenly everyone's going to be obsessed with it.
Can you explain though? Because this is what I'm still trying to understand. You described it's a genre called lit RPG.
Listen to this. And I haven't read this book. I am taking it on holiday.
Do we have this book?
I have bought it because I have a problem that I'm surrounded by books.
Okay.
And my friend Jen works on the books, and I was like, it just feels wrong to ask her to send me the whole series, and like I want it immediately, so I'm just going to order it.
Okay.
And actually, I found it secondhand, and I felt that I was doing something good for the environment. So basically, I saved the world. Okay. Lit RPG is literary role-playing games. It's a book genre that blends traditional storytelling with video game mechanics, character-face stats, leveling up, skill trees, and inventory management in worlds mimicking RPGs.
This is, for me, really fascinating because I, as a
Secret
child...
Secret
Well,
life.
no, I used to RPG in AOL chat rooms, and I had a character that was part of like a guild and a family.
Oh my God.
And I'm quite serious because there was this scoring. So you had to do like a dice roll on your keyboard. I mean, like when I think back to it, I mean, I can even tell you I was part of the LaFay family in Ryden. There was the Red Dragon Inn. I mean, I used to come home from school and do this for like a while. And I think this was before anyone really... Like, certainly none of my friends were doing this. And if they were, they never told me. And I never told them because kind of a little bit weird. I later moved on to playing The Sims, which was more socially acceptable. But these chat rooms were fascinating. When we just got AOL, you could suddenly go into all these like fantasy worlds and you would score yourself by these. There was like code almost that you had to put into your keyboard, and that was your dice roll. And then you would spar, or it was all crazy. And you had to put like your action. So I would be a character and I'd be in the tavern. And then if I put 2 colons and then wrote text, that was my action. So be 2 colons and I'd be like, hops up onto the bar. Then 2 colons. So that was the action. And then there was my speech. I know this sounds really odd. And I am really hoping that there is someone listening who was there too. And we could perhaps take this offline.
So
off air, rather.
Dungeon Crawler Carl follows Coast Guard veteran Carl and his ex-girlfriend Showcat, Princess Donut. When aliens flatten Earth's building to build an 18-level underground game show, survivors must fight monsters and entertain galactic viewers to survive. People are obsessed. And Parade of Horribles came out this year, and this is just exploding in popularity.
Okay, cool. I'm in. Well, let me know how you get on with it.
I will.
And then I'll take a look myself.
And another women's prize book that you absolutely loved was Daughters on the Bamboo Grove.
God, yes. This was long-listed for 2026, not shortlisted. Don't know why not. Why not? It's absolutely superb. It's non-fiction, but the very best kind of non-fiction. And it's about China's one-child policy and about a Chinese woman in a village who gave birth to twins who were separated. And Barbara Demick, an American journalist, actually brings these twins back together. But the story is about so much more than the reunion. It's about China, the government, the nature of the country. I thought it was absolutely brilliant. I was so excited about this book coming out. I'm just going to try and not knock everything over here. Whistler. Anne Patchett is absolutely one of my favourite authors, and this book has been on pretty much every list, I think.
Every single list.
It's a really beautiful story about a woman and her former stepfather. So Daphne is in the Met Museum in New York, and she comes across an older man walking through the museum. And it turns out that it's Eddie. And Eddie was married to her mother for a short time when she was much younger. I think she was like 9 or 10 years old. And this way that they are brought back together, honestly, this is the thing about Anne Patchett. She takes the most, I guess she really gets to the heart of relationships and what makes us human and how relationships develop. And it sounds so ordinary, but it is pure and utter magic. And it's an absolutely gorgeous, it's almost poetry how she writes. I absolutely adored it. And I would implore anyone who hasn't read anything by Anne Patchett, this actually would be a great one to start with. But I also adored, I think my other favourite by Anne Patchett is The Dutch House.
I knew you were gonna
which
say
is a
that.
story centering around a family home. I've always been fascinated by, yes, it's about relationships between people, but between people and particular places, that also really intrigues me. And she does that brilliantly. So either of those, Whistler or The Dutch House, is an amazing place to start with. The Queen Anne Patchett.
The Queen, who was on late night TV show. Like, she's a star.
Incredible. She's got an amazing social media account.
Yeah.
I'm desperate. We need to go to Parnassus Books. That's her bookshop.
So a few other books that have been on lists, and we will also be talking about later on because they're ours. John of John by Douglas Stewart is a book that it's my favourite of his so far.
Yeah, I was quite surprised for you to say that because I know how much you love Shuggy Bain
No.
and Young Mungo.
It's beyond
Another
it's
level?
another level. We will
Really?
get to it.
I've got to read it.
Transcription by Ben Lerner. Let me
Not
tell you
read that.
something. The Booker Prize long list was a phenomenal list this year. Black Bag by Luke Kennard is our August book club, and he is appearing on our pod.
Friend of the pod.
Friend of the pod.
Friend of the
We
pod,
adore
Luke.
him. The fact that Transcription by Ben Lerner, which is on so many best books of the year so far list, was not longlisted for the Booker Prize, made my jaw fall down. I was shocked. It is phenomenal. A writer returns to his college town where he is to conduct what will be the final published interview with Thomas, his 90-year-old mentor. He drops his smartphone and then he has no recording device and he just can't tell him. And it's like dreamlike and surreal. It's a meditation on technologies and that enrich and impoverish our connections, music, children, eating disorders. I mean, you name it, it's all in here. It's so small. I tabbed every other line.
There's more tabs than pages in there.
It is so good. This is Where the Serpent Lives. I'm delighted it's on so many lists. This is a Bloomsbury proof that I was very kindly sent, but the cover is stunning, so I'm very tempted to go and buy the hardback. And it's so elegiac and profoundly moving. It's centered around Pakistan's sophisticated cities to its most rural farmlands. And what it captures so well is the proximity to that extreme level of wealth to poverty in a land where fate is determined by class and social station. It actually meant quite a lot to me personally because my grandmother grew up in Calcutta and lived in a beautiful, beautiful home, but they were always so aware of what was going on around them. And my grandma always spoke very movingly about the people that they would be taken to villages to hand out food because her parents never wanted her to grow up untouched by what was going on around them.
What about I Want You to Be Happy?
Oh,
You've read it, I haven't, but I mean it's everywhere at the moment.
It's
isn't
everywhere.
It?
Jem Calder. If you enjoy Sally Rooney, it's better. And it's short.
I'm going to need to read that.
It's so good. It's just a relationship between two people in modern London who are going through working from home and they're struggling to get jobs or keep to their job, and everyone is so connected and yet so isolated and lonely, and it's modern dating and it's hilarious.
I want to read that. Then there's obviously Land, Maggie O'Farrell.
Mags, another friend of the pod.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely stunning book. And also, as I mentioned before, it's about connection to place. It's done so beautifully, and has been one that I know so many have read and loved this year.
Very much so. Famesick by Lena Dunham.
Oh, yeah.
That is a memoir that has been everywhere. Rejection has been spoken about a lot. Listen, and one more. I will. Okay, no, two more because you know what I'm like. B.K. Borison is a romance author.
Don't know that book.
She is the next. Well, not next. She's
B.K.
on par with
Borison.
Ali Hazelwood.
Really?
And Ali Hazelwood's books are now being adapted. The Love Hypothesis is coming out, I think, next month. So watch everyone becoming a romance reader, a la Off Campus. Okay,
me included.
Right? And This Kingdom Will Not Kill Me. I'm taking it on holiday. It's the fantasy book everyone's talking about.
Can I tell you, though, something
So
about that
excited.
off-campus book? Because you know how much I wanted it. I haven't read it. And I think it's just when you mention romance, I think I needed to have read it in that exact moment when the series ended. And because I couldn't get my hands on it till now. Now it's gone dropping down my TBR
That's so
pile.
interesting.
Anyway, moving on, I guess, to our
Yes.
favourite books of the year.
We've read.
That we've read. So I'm not talking about books that were out this year, although some of them have come out this year. Some are yet to come out this year, and annoyingly, we got them first. Sorry about that. But consider this, us giving you the green light to purchase them when they are out. So I'm actually going to start with a book that's not yet out because it really has just kind of consumed me in the most magnificent of ways. Just allow me to reach over my mic to get it. It's rather hefty.
This is how you know this podcast is not generated by AI. Would AI be like, just give me a minute to get the book?
Yes, there you go. So American Hagwon. I find it quite difficult to describe how much I adored this book. And it was also quite surreal because while I was reading and adoring it, I was messaging Min Jin Lee herself to tell her how much I was loving it because we ended up connecting on Instagram. So there you go, the magic of social media. Sometimes it's actually incredible. This is, I can't even call it a novel. It is so epic. It's so big, but it's the most incredible exploration of life, moving from place to place, finding your place in the world. The Korean education system. Oh my goodness. It was so, not only was it the most, I can't call it a novel. I felt like I lived in the book.
Amazing.
I really did. It was so immersive. I learnt so much. Yes, it centers around a family, but it's how that family moves over a period of time, what happens to the children as they grow up, the life choices that they make. And there is this question of education at the very, very heart of it, which really gave me an education as I read it. Annoyingly for you, the book is not out yet, but it is out pretty soon. It's out on the 29th of September. Yes, it's long. I think it was around 700 and something pages. It's not going to take you long to read it. And when you've finished, you are going to feel very, very lost. I should say that Min Jin Lee is the author of Pachinko, which is one of my favorite books ever. You've probably heard of it. I think it was a TV series on Apple, not watched it. Her first book was called Free Food for Millionaires. That came before Pachinko. Absolutely incredible book that I read recently. This is for me, like, so far, I'm not going to say it's the best, but it's up there as one of my ultimate favorites so far this year, and possibly ever. But I need some time still to process. Loved it.
I love how we've got some major breaking news of our own book taste, because so do I. I haven't even finished this book. I don't know if I've told you about it.
Sorry, no, I haven't. What do you mean?
The book that I think is probably going to be my favorite of the year.
Go on. No.
I feel like it's a big deal. I almost feel like I might cry.
Oh my goodness, what is it?
Basically, right? Every other historical fiction says it's the next Wolf Hall. And the hole that I feel in my life not having Hilary Mantel with us,
it's real,
is actually an ache. This book says it's Wolf Hall meets Demon Copperhead. It's called The Pretender by Jo Harkin. And I started to read it, and then I realised that I felt the same way about it as I do Hilary Mantel.
That's a bit much for me to kind of process.
I almost felt like I was cheating on her. I was so distraught that she's not alive to read it, because Jo Harkin in interviews, because obviously I then went down, I stopped reading it and had to understand who she was. And she started talking in interviews about how her main inspiration is Hilary Mantel and her approach.
Well, and Hilary Mantel was so famously so generous with other writers. She would always be reading what she'd been sent and would always give quotes for covers. If I think that's amazing.
She would have championed this book. I cannot explain to you how much this book means to me.
You haven't even really mentioned it
because I wanted
me.
to leave it for a
Saving
podcast.
it. Okay.
It's I'm not, God forbid, going to say it's better than Hilary, but like it's basically the same level for me.
Whoa.
I promise you start reading this and you think, am I still in the 2020s? Because I feel like I'm in the 1400s.
Are others saying this too?
Yes. So it's 1438. The English throne is in peril. A peasant boy, a farmer, John Colin, is faced with two options: become king or die trying. What could possibly go wrong? It's basically the story of a boy that was going to be brought as the pretender, was going to be cultivated into the next king of England. And it's all around the war, like the War of the Roses. And
Is it a series? Is there another one?
I don't know. Okay, Maggie Shipstead says Harkin might be a time traveller. Yael van der Wooden, who is
The Safekeep,
says, I will recommend this to everyone for years to come, a genuinely brilliant voice. Like, it genuinely is Wolf Hall meets Demon.
Wow.
Though Demon, not in the how hard I found Demon, it's hysterical. You know Hilary's sardonic wit? She brings history alive.
Wow.
This is like Hamilton level of bringing history alive. Like, she's talking about how people chat about what's going on in the royal family, a bit like people now chat about the Kardashians.
Oh, really?
Like,
when did it come out?
That's a great question, Sophie. When did it come out? Do you know, I saw that it was being compared to Wolf Hall and I was like, I'm not interested. I'm not interested. I'm not interested. It's been longlisted for a number of historical fiction awards. It was first published in 2025, so I'm not that far behind.
Yeah.
I literally didn't want to pick it up and then I haven't finished it because I want to save it.
How much do you have left? Not very much.
Half.
Oh, wow. That's for you.
I've
you
stopped.
are restrained.
Because I almost felt like, what am I doing? Like, this is another level of Hilary.
Thanks for finally sharing it with me. I actually just finished a book that I would say is one of my best ever reads of the year. It's Valley of the Dolls. This is obviously not a new book. Oh, there are my tabs. I've been looking for them everywhere. That there? No, I really have. Valley of the Dolls was first published in 1966. Now, I'd definitely heard of it. Didn't know anything about this book. And actually, I'm going to shout out my husband because he told me to read this. He was stuck driving his mum's car because his car was at the garage. And he said it was jammed on like Radio 4 and they were doing like an extract from this book. And he came home. It was quite late. He'd come home from work and I said, how was your day? He goes, I need to talk to you about this book that I listened to on Radio 4. They were reading an extract. Anyway, he kind of gave away a big thing that happened because it's really quite distressing. He said, you've got to read it. You've got to read it. So I got it. And it's absolutely incredible. Actually, I think you need to read it. There is such a huge amount in here that would leave you like from a feminist perspective.
Oh, what's it about?
So this is about three women. They're young. They're like early 20s. Actually, one of them's in her late teens. And they're all they've moved to New York or they're trying to make it in New York, whether it's in TV, careers, media. And the dolls that the title refers to is actually drugs. So it's the pills that they take, sleeping pills, various narcotics and whatever, which, at the time were not seen to be that big a deal. People didn't really know what they were to the same degree that we know now. But, time passes, we know more, etc. But it's also to do with their relationship with the men in their lives and the power of men over women. And, one of them is absolutely stunningly beautiful, but there's another one who's like super, super talented. That storyline is incredible. One of them, Neely, she's so, so talented. But what she says she wants really is the happy home life that she never had. And she meets a guy and she wants a family, but she's totally, totally corrupted by the industry. And like watching that play out, reading it play out it's really tragic, but I feel it's still so relevant now, probably even more relevant now than it was at the time. I think you'd really love it. I really, what a book, really.
Oh, Well, I'm desperate for you to read John of John, and I know that we've mentioned this. Douglas
Yeah.
Stewart, it's my favourite book ever that he's ever written. And do you know what? He deserves to win the Booker for it. And if he wins again, I will applaud him. It's set on the island of Harris. John Callum MacLeod, has to come home. He's got this torrid relationship with his father. His grandmother, Ella, who's Glaswegian and hysterical, and I just want to go to the pub with her, is living in the property. And it's just, you can feel the breeze, you can feel the cold. There's so much discussion around identity and queerness and love and family. And it's just so
We
intense.
heard him talk about it, didn't
Oh,
we, at the event,
at the Picador
the Picador
Showcase.
Showcase? And I remember thinking, I mean, it's
It's
going to be mega.
excellent. It's absolutely
Yeah.
excellent. What is your last best book of the year so far, would you
I
say?
would say my last best book of the year.
A Private Man or
No, I
Buckeye?
know I can't. Can I say two?
Well, Grant's is Buckeye, friend of the pod.
Okay,
Is so
Grant.
we loved Buckeye. We interviewed
I
him.
loved Buckeye, and maybe it's not fair for me to say it's my favorite book of the year because I definitely finished up like the end of last year, maybe very beginning of 2026. I mean, Buckeye for me is pure brilliance. Grant obviously agreed, but it's it's an incredible book. We chose it as our first book club
Yeah, we did.
for our podcast, and it's this epic saga centering on two families, set in America, wartime, between the wars, the impact of that. I mean, in my mind, it's going to be the most amazing TV series. Like, I really believe it would
Mm.
translate really beautifully. But yeah, for me, I mean, that's a great one. The other one that I guess was a more surprising one for me because I actually haven't heard about it much
No.
online. It's called A Private Man. It actually was just so beautiful. It's about a man called David who becomes a priest. He's in Rome and then he comes back to England about to begin his priestly career. And he's in this school. And basically, his whole life is about being devoted to God and his faith, religion, etc. And then he meets Margaret and everything changes. And this actually was based on the author's own
So
grandparents
special.
and how they met. And yeah, I mean, it's an absolutely brilliant book, and it's just not one that I've heard people bang on about, and I'll keep banging on about it because it's so good. To be fair, I think it was nominated as the Waterstones' debut,
Ah,
but I still just don't think there's been, you know, how
no.
on social media there's like those few books that people just go
Yeah.
on and on and on about,
Yeah.
and this should be one of them, or it's just even better than that.
Well, one of my favourite books of the year so far, and the last one that I think I'll mention, because a number of these just took my breath away, but this left me sobbing on the couch, and my 11-year-old came downstairs and was like, Mummy, what's happened? I was like, there's this man who's died. And he was like,
The dog.
right, who's died? Or because he thought someone had died from how I was crying. And I was like, it's a book. He's like, oh, goodness gracious me. And actually, one of our Biblio Insiders, Christine, sent us in her best book of the year. And we've got loads, and we're now coming to the next section. But the overlap between us was great because her favourite book of the year so far was When the Cranes Fly South. So she says it's a tender story about an elderly man struggling with and coming to terms with the loss of agency that comes with aging. And it's just so beautifully written.
It's
It's also based on the notes the author's grandfather's care team left the family as he neared the end of his life. You realise halfway through, like, he's becoming an unreliable narrator, and that just breaks your heart.
It's such a brilliant insight into aging. And I don't
Absolutely.
think there are enough books that do that.
No, there
actually.
absolutely
We
aren't.
had some great responses from our insiders. So this is our Substack paid tier who we engage with regularly. And we can't actually give you all of them, but there are some really great ones that we wanted to share. One was a book Catherine mentioned
You've
called
got it right in
Female
front of you.
Nude, which has been on my list for a while. I think it's again like it's sort of been sitting there, and I love the cover. Like, I wish that was me just lying
I
there in
know.
the sea. She said that it had ticked all her boxes before she read it: art, summer, friendship, class, sex, motherhood, but most of all Greece, which is why she picked it up. So it's interesting, isn't it? Like, why people choose a
Yeah.
book and that sense of place. She said she absolutely devoured it, and it really hit the spot just when she needed it in the heat of the summers with two daughters. on the cusp of pondering the life-changing choices of motherhood. How fabulous.
One other insight that we obviously have already mentioned, Tabitha mentioned London Falling, but she, as you know, a book she couldn't put down. The Girls by Emma Cline, she read because of this podcast.
Oh, it was our cults episode, wasn't it?
Absolutely was. And Elizabeth Strout, The Things We Never Say. And that, I have to say, I'm being remiss, Elizabeth Strout is on so many best books of the year so far list.
Dana mentioned Country People by Daniel Mason, which she said that he makes the stories of everyday life totally extraordinary and magical with his beautiful prose and witty writing style.
And Prab, I mean, Empire of Vampires, she read because of me and she loves it, and it was fantasy, and it's made my whole life that she read it.
Another one, Said Whistler by Anne Patchett. Well, I couldn't agree more. Cathedrals, by Claudia Pinheiro.
I'm desperate to read that author.
It's a translated book. So this was translated by Frances Riddle. Apparently it's a very layered story.
Yes.
A mystery dealing with religious hypocrisy, misogyny, etc. So that's one. I reckon you'll love that. And Beginning, Middle, End by Valeria Luiselli.
Yes.
That's another one there. Oh, I Who Have Never Known Men.
Yes. We now come to our insider aspect. So we have an amazing recommendation from Olivia Savannah, who works at Pan Macmillan, and she has to recommend the new Veronica Roth. The author of Divergent has got a new book coming out. Well, it's out already, May 2026, Seek the Traitor's Son. Here's her recommendation.
Hey there, I'm Olivia Savannah from Olivia's Catastrophe, and the best book that I've read so far this year has to be, hands down, Seek the Traitor's Son by Veronica Roth. I have been a huge Veronica Roth fan from Divergent until now, and I really think she truly can do no wrong, but she has absolutely knocked it out of the park with Seek the Traitor's Son. This one is a kind of sci-fi, fantasy, dystopian mashup, sounds amazing, I know, that is set in the future where there is this plague, and half of the people believe the plague, called the fever, should infiltrate all the people. 50% of people survive from the plague and they come to life with gifts after they've died. And the other 50% believe that's not good, that people shouldn't have the risk of dying, and they try to keep themselves away. These two nations have been warring for decades when a prophecy is born that there will be a hero who will end this war, and that will be the winning side, except this prophecy could apply to two people, one from the plague side and one from the non-plague side, and it's up to them and the questions they ask after they've been given the prophecy which will determine who kicks what into motion and which side will win. And oh my goodness, was this a wild ride from beginning until end. I literally could not stop reading. The writing quality is just so very good. There's a slow burn in here for all of my romance lovers, and it's just delicious. And that is not to say that the plot isn't perfect either. From the beginning, something amazing happens that you wouldn't expect, and it's go, go, go from there, and you are strapped in for the suspenseful ride from beginning until end. I am a huge lover of amazing world building, and the world building in this is absolutely fantastic. So I can't recommend this book anymore. I'm so excited for the sequel next year, and that is very much the best book I've read this year.
Have you read Divergent?
No, have you?
No, I haven't.
I've watched the film though.
Okay.
We also have a recommendation from our dear friend Zubs, who is an incredible book creator online, who has incredible taste. And also, I love the fact that it's so varied. She's like us. She'll read anything. And here is her recommendation for the best book of the year so far for her.
One of the best books that I have read in 2026 is The Calamity Club by Catherine Stockett, the author of The Help. This is a big, bold-hearted story about a group of unforgettable women, friendships, secrets, and fighting for what they believe they deserve. It's smart, it's funny, it's completely character-driven, with women who literally leap off the page and demand to be heard. What I loved most about this book was the friendship between the characters. You know, they're messy, they're complicated, hilarious, and incredibly easy to root for. So if you love stories about female friendships, about messy characters, and a whole lot of heart, then you need to read The Calamity Club by Catherine Stockett. It is absolutely phenomenal. And please, please, please do not let the sheer size of it put you off.
I think you should do the intro for all these incredible responses that you've got from Spotify.
Oh, so we have to shout out Roshni.
Thank you, Roshni. You're a
who-
legend.
Who has kind of amassed the troops.
Yes.
So Roshni is editorial manager for the EU UKIE in Australia, New Zealand at audiobooks. She says, how do I choose? How can I pick? I can't. So I've picked 3 for you. She liked Fieldwork as a Sex Object by Mira Kandasamy. It was a tragic, funny, shocking exploration of Indian incel culture. I'm ordering that immediately. Another vote for Country People here. And The Things We Never Say by Elizabeth Strout. It was her first ever Strout. And what a novel. One day, Artie Dam learns a secret that his wife has been keeping from him. And the book is about what he does with that knowledge. And it's an incredibly told story of loss and loneliness and love.
We've got from Zach Knoll, who's the senior editor for the US at Spotify. He said one of his favourite books published in 2026 is Vincent Yu's Seek Immediate Shelter. I love what they've really given us such detailed responses. I love how books do that. Like people at the drop of a hat. I mean, we didn't give them much notice. This was kind of last minute-ish. So thank you so much, Spotify. So he describes it as a piercing story of survival and second chances following a small Asian American community in the aftermath of a false ballistic missile alert that pushes the residents' lives into chaos. That sounds magnificent. It is one of the most assured debuts I've read in some time. Meditative, heartfelt, funny, and deeply human. Love that.
And he says he has to just shout out one of his favourite books of all time, which is Jennifer Egan's 2010 masterpiece, A Visit from the Goon Squad, which whoever I know has read that book is obsessed with it.
I actually haven't read it.
It's
Maybe I
so
should.
good.
Zach, I'm going to read it. We've got Lena Yang, the senior editor for Canada. She shouts out The Winged Game, Sophie Kim, as the best of the year so far. She said, there is perhaps no better time for a Ted Lasso-style underdog comeback story than during this particularly entertaining year in sports. And Sophie Kim has delivered that with her new sports romantasy, The Winged Game.
Oh, wait. This is a sports romantasy?
Yes.
Oh,
You're ordering
I'm
it.
Literally.
You're ordering it now. You've already ordered it. You've
doing it
got to
live.
control yourself.
If
The
my
banter look, so she says that it's the fake dating turned slow burn romance between rivals. But what really sets the book apart is the dynamism of the world Kim has built around Carrie Witchett, a fictional, brutal, rugby-like sport. I love that. This is so not me, but yet, I mean, Lena, you're making me really want to get this. The banter alone is worth the listen, but it's thrill of rooting for a scrappy team that makes this so much fun. Carrie Witchett.
I love this. Do you know it's only got 3,500 reviews on Goodreads? Like, it's not overrated or anything.
Well, we've got to thank Lena.
I've just ordered it. I mean, one of her favourite books ever, though, is Piranesi.
I was going to say, look, you're going to like this because look what else she's recommended.
Yeah, but look what she said. So listen to this, guys. She says, Piranesi is honestly a book that changed my brain chemistry and I still think about it every day. She says
it's her best book ever.
Yeah, but I understand that. She says that the audiobook is singular in its unfolding and genre-defying in its genius.
Do you think you should read it even though you've read and loved the actual book? I think it sounds like you should be listening to this on audiobook now. Are you going to do that now?
I might. I'm just going to walk
now
out.
live on it.
I love that Ari Kinnear, who's senior editor for Australia, says John of John. Ha! I agree.
Yeah, and Life of Pi.
As the best book ever.
And I mean, really.
It's incredible.
There's some great stuff here. Thank you so much, guys.
I would also like to bring in Jack from the National Year of Reading campaign, who so kindly sent us in his best books of the year so far. His whole life is subsumed by getting people to read. So you know that the books that he likes are going to be good.
Yeah, he knows his stuff.
So Munich's by David Pearce, which is narrated by Christopher Eccleston. To live by example in the National Year of Reading, I both decided to read into my favourite topic, football. This is interesting. So the National Year of Reading their entire campaign is underpinned by getting people to understand that reading doesn't have to be a separate thing that you do, and you can bring in all of your other interests. And actually, we're reading all the time without realising.
Well, when we had a chat with him, I explained how, as a child, my favourite thing to do was read the back of cereal boxes.
Yes.
And we had a laugh about it, but ultimately, that is still reading.
Absolutely. So he has been reading into football, and he has been using an audiobook so he doesn't have to lug it round. And he's been using the Borrow Books library app, which I think is amazing. He says the novel itself is pretty bleak. It's the aftermath of the 1958 Munich air disaster, which wiped out a large majority of the young Manchester United side.
Yes.
Who were conquering football at home.
It's really tragic. That story is, it's true. It's really, I would actually love to read more about that as an event. And
You
the
should
aftermath.
read this book. Balances the tension between tragedy, hope, and the relentless speed in which time forces us all to move forward with our
Wow.
lives in a fine balance.
Wow. Sounds epic.
It does sound epic.
We also got a really lovely message from Heidi, the amazing Heidi at The Wandering Chapter, who, quite frankly, whenever I see her post anything on Instagram, I think you're living the life I want to live.
What is the life you want to live?
She has this wandering travel bookshop. It's the most, you have to check out her page. She calls it a little pink bookshop on wheels, but it is so much more than that. She's curated it. It's full of amazing, amazing books. The merch, the bookshop, it's everything, but it's not like just for show. Heidi is an avid, voracious reader and so passionate about what she does. It's infectious. So I actually got in touch with her to ask what her bestsellers were over the past year.
Oh, you clever girl.
Thanks, love. Her number one was The Correspondent, which is quite unsurprising. And she said that she thinks that's because of its very unusual format, because it's epistolary, so it's told entirely through letters, so it feels personal and immersive, and it's relatively short.
It's won the Women's Prize.
Yeah, and that. And she just said that it's such a love letter to books, reading, and the written word. Number two, Yesteryear. She said that it's got such a split opinion. Some love it, some don't connect with it, this is exactly what we said about it. But she said she thinks that is totally driving the sales, as well as the whole conversation around trad wife influencers and the romanticization of those traditional lifestyles. It's such a current topic. So that conflict, I guess, is pushing people out to buy it. And then number three is The Wedding People, which I read some time ago by Alison Espach. It's a great summer read because it's got real weight to it, but it's an easy book to read. And I think it's perfect for a holiday. I know, though, you see, I'm contradicting myself because I know we've said that it's not all about light reads, but it's not what you'd think is traditionally like a light, frothy read. It isn't that. There's like real sadness in that book. I really enjoyed it. So yeah, fresh, unpredictable, she says. It balances serious topics with sharp situational wit. And it never feels too heavy or too sentimental. And I actually think Heidi has got it exactly right. Its balance is a big part of its appeal. She totally knows her stuff. And she said that for this one, she thinks word of mouth has really played that part in its popularity. Because I think, it is one that so many would quickly recommend, I think, as a book to read. Oh, it's a great, I think most people would actually enjoy it. So those are from Heidi at The Wandering Chapter, Living the Life I Want to Lead. Heidi, I am coming for that little pink bookshop on wheels. At least let me just come and I'm just going to hang out there for a bit. That's what I want to do this summer. Before we go, I was thinking about this. I would love to know, Chaya, are there any books that you think you're going to read and love and they will be up there in your best books of the year? Do you have any?
I have it here.
Oh, so well prepared.
And it's actually been sent to me and it's not even out yet. Thank you, Granta. A.K. Blakemore is an author that I think is one of my favourite authors of all time.
Manningtree Witches.
The Manningtree Witches, but also her others. I mean, The Glutton was just phenomenal. And this is called Doom Painting.
That cover really reminds me of an old edition of Hilary Mantel's Beyond Black. I want to find it. It really does. It's got those vibes.
The year is 1381. England suffering from plague and years of foreign conflicts as a tinderbox waiting to spark. Two childhood friends ride into the town of Brentwood, Essex, and come upon an altercation with the local justice bent on squeezing more coin from the masses. Thus begins a rebellion of the common folk. Lock me away with this book.
You're in there.
She's just brilliant as a writer. Her prose is just another level.
Okay, well, mine, there is one that I've really been thinking about ever since we went to the Women's Prize event, and it is this. It's called We Go Way Back by Niamh Connolly, who was one of the writers who I think came up the ranks of the Women's Prize because she won the Discoveries
That's right.
Award from almost 3,000 entries in 2024. And we heard her talk about this book. And listen, all authors will talk about their books with passion generally, but there was something there that day when she was discussing this. I thought, I need to read it. And thankfully, we left with a proof copy. And our dear friend Natasha, who is editor at large of Book Brunch, has just written a bit of a review on this one on her Instagram. And I'm going to link to Natasha's Instagram in our show notes because Natasha has impeccable taste. Well, in books and also fashion, I should say, but in books. And I often pretty much agree with most things that she says. She really, and she wrote the most beautiful review on this. And it sounds like it's going to be as good, if not better, than I'm expecting. So I'm very excited about this. And it's going to be one I take away with me this summer.
Hello, it's me, Sophie, popping in from the future here because Natasha, whom we were just chatting about, has recently sent us an incredible book recommendation for you all to add to your lists. This title is not out until September, but that's not too far away, so we suggest you add it to your TBRs immediately. Now, over to Natasha.
Hello, you brilliant and gorgeous women, and your doubtless equally brilliant and gorgeous listeners. My book of the year, from a very strong field, I might add, is Chloe Benjamin's Understory, which is published in September. This prevailed because it is both an extraordinary exercise in speculative fiction and world building, and plays with ideas and concepts of time and space and travel and other worlds. And it was 8 years in writing and researching, and you can really tell. But it is also this incredible love story which poses the ultimate question: what would you do for more time with the people that you love? It is utterly extraordinary. I warn you now, it will rent your heart asunder. It made me weep, but it is worth it because it is the most brilliant book, and shush, if there is any justice in the world, an enormous hit.
Thank you so much for joining us today. And thank you so much to all our contributors and friends who have sent their favourites in.
And we hope that amongst, well, what we think are quite a decent array of titles here, we think there really is something for everyone. So we hope you find exactly what you're looking to read next from this episode. And thank you so much, and we'll see you next time.
See you next time.